On the far edge of the galaxy, on a planet of shining towers and strange alien creatures, the first human ambassador from Earth stood quietly among a crowd of laughing aliens. He was different, tall, strong, with eyes that seemed to hold the fire of 1,000 worlds, but here, among these extraterrestrial nobles, he felt small. The alien Baron, a tall figure with shimmering blue skin and long, twisting horns, laughed louder than anyone, pointing at the human. "Look at him. This fragile little creature calls himself a hero of Earth. What a joke." The Baron sneered, his voice echoing through the massive hall. The human did not answer. He kept his calm, though inside, anger burned. Then the Baron raised his hand, and from behind him, a small figure appeared. Trembling, her eyes wide and fearful, she was the Baron's daughter, known across the galaxy for her flaws, her clumsiness, and her failure in every trial set before her. The crowd gasped, and then burst into laughter again. "Here," said the Baron, handing the girl to the human. "Take her. Let us see if your species can do better than she can." The human looked down at the girl. She was tiny, almost fragile, with scars on her arms and legs from failed experiments. Her hair was tangled, her clothes torn, and her expression was one of fear and confusion. The aliens around them laughed and whispered, mocking both human and girl. "No one can fix her. She is broken," they said. The human felt a strange calm wash over him. He bent slightly, so his face was level with hers. "You will be okay," he said softly, his voice steady. "I will help you." The girl blinked at him, unsure whether to trust or run. The Baron laughed again, showing sharp teeth. "Do your best, human. But remember, everyone is watching." The human nodded and took the girl's hand gently, leading her away from the hall. Outside, the city sparkled under two suns. Alien ships flying through the skies. The human thought quietly, "They mock me because they do not understand us." He looked at the girl, and for the first time, a tiny spark of determination appeared in her eyes. The mockery of the Baron in the crowd could not erase the human's belief in what he could do. For days, he tried simple lessons with her, showing her how to balance, how to move with strength, how to think with logic. Every small step was met with ridicule from other aliens, watching from the towers above. Sometimes the girl fell, sometimes she cried, and sometimes she tried to run away, but the human never gave up. He laughed softly when she stumbled, not in mockery, but in encouragement. "You are stronger than you think," he said. "Even if they do not see it, I do." Slowly, other aliens began to notice small changes, though they would not admit it. The girl stood taller, moved faster, and sometimes a small smile appeared on her face. Still, the Baron watched from his throne, eyes narrowing, thinking the human was wasting his time, but the human had a plan, quiet and patient. He believed that even the smallest spark, with care and courage, could turn into a blazing star. And in the darkness of ridicule, a quiet hope began to grow, a hope that one day, the human and the girl would show the galaxy that even what is broken can become legendary. But for now, the mockery was loud, the Baron cruel, and the challenge immense. Yet the human did not falter, and the girl began to trust him. Little did anyone know, this was only the beginning of a story that would shake the stars themselves. The human and the girl walked through the glowing streets of the alien city. Every building shimmered with strange lights, and alien creatures watched them, curiously, whispering among themselves. The girl, still small and fragile, clung to the human's hand. She had never left her father's palace before, and the world outside seemed huge and frightening. The human knelt down to her level. "Do not be afraid," he said gently. "We will take it one step at a time." She nodded quietly, her eyes wide, filled with a mix of fear and curiosity. The first challenge was simple balance, coordination, and thinking under pressure. But for the girl, every step felt like walking across a stormy sea. The human guided her slowly, showing her how to bend her knees, how to focus her mind, how to move with purpose. At first, she stumbled constantly, falling to the ground again and again. Each time she fell, the human helped her up, brushing dirt and dust from her clothes. "You can do this," he said, smiling. "Every fall is a step closer to standing tall." Aliens watching from above laughed at her mistakes, whispering, "She will never succeed." What a weak child. The girl's face turned red with embarrassment, and for a moment, she wanted to give up, but the human stayed calm, steady as a rock. never showing doubt, never giving up on her. Slowly, the girl began to try again, her movements more confident, her steps firmer. Days passed, and small victories began to appear. She caught herself before falling, remembered the techniques the human taught her, and even smiled when she succeeded. The human encouraged every tiny success, praising her patience, her courage, and her determination. With each small win, the whispers of the aliens grew quieter, though their sneers were still sharp, but the struggle was far from over. The Baron, watching from his palace tower, became impatient. He sent new challenges, tests of strength, speed, and cleverness, designed to humiliate them both. One day, he released a wild alien beast into the training arena. The girl froze, fear gripping her, but the human stepped forward. Shielding her, he whispered a plan, showing her how to use her mind instead of brute force. Together, they faced the beast, dodging, distracting, and finally guiding it away without harm. The other aliens gasped, unable to believe what they had just seen. Slowly, the girl began to see herself differently. She realized she was stronger than she thought, braver than she imagined, and smarter than she had ever known. The human's belief in her became her own belief. He showed her that failure was not the end, but a step toward greatness. Every challenge, every fall, every mistake was a lesson, and the girl began to trust him completely, learning not only skills but courage and hope. Yet even as they improved, the Baron's laughter echoed in their minds. He would not give up on mocking them. Who is ready with a new test designed to humiliate? The human knew this, and he prepared her quietly, patiently, carefully. Each lesson, each struggle, each small victory was part of a bigger plan, a plan that could turn ridicule into glory, weakness into power, and little by little, the galaxy began to notice that something extraordinary was happening. The human and the girl were not just surviving, they were growing, from small sparks of hope to glowing flames of determination. And though the Baron watched with skepticism and sneers, the first signs of change had begun. The girl, once broken and mocked, was starting to shine, and the human's quiet confidence promised that the next challenge would test not just their skills, but the very limits of what humans could achieve. The galaxy seemed to watch them now. News of the human and the alien Baron's daughter spread through the towers and streets of the planet. Whispers turned into curious glances, and curious glances turned into nervous attention. The Baron, frowning, realized his joke was no longer funny. The girl had grown stronger, smarter, braver, and she had the human guiding her every step. One morning, the Baron summoned them both to the central arena. It was massive, glowing with strange energy, and filled with creatures from every corner of the galaxy. This will be your greatest test, the Baron said, voice cold. Fail, and the galaxy will see how weak you are. The human nodded, calm as ever, and held the girl's hand. Her small fingers gripped his tightly, a mix of fear and determination in her eyes. The challenge began. A maze filled with traps, alien puzzles, and fierce creatures. The other aliens whispered that no human or broken alien could survive it. But the human did not panic, and he guided the girl carefully. He pointed out dangers she could not see, helped her think through puzzles, and taught her to trust her instincts. The girl moved cautiously at first, stumbling here and there, but she began to learn, adapting quickly. Halfway through the maze, a huge energy barrier blocked their path. The Baron's voice echoed, mocking, "Turn back, human. Even your precious pupil cannot pass this." The girl froze, fear nearly paralyzing her, but the human crouched beside her, whispering, "You are ready. Trust yourself." Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, analyzing the barrier carefully. With a clever move, she discovered a hidden weakness and triggered the mechanism to open the way. The crowd gasped, unable to believe what they had just seen. The maze was far from over, and the Baron sent waves of creatures to slow them down. The girl used everything she had learned from the human strength skill, cleverness to avoid danger. Each step, each move, brought her closer to victory. The human watched silently, proud but calm, guiding her without showing doubt. For the first time, she began to feel a real sense of control, a real sense of power. The alien Baron's laughter was fading, replaced by confusion and unease. Finally, they reached the last chamber, where a massive creature, stronger and faster than any they had faced, awaited. The Baron smirked, certain that they would fail at the very end. but the human whispered a plan to the girl, combining quick thinking, courage, and precise timing. Together, they faced the creature, dodging attacks and using clever tricks, until finally, the beast was subdued and unharmed, but defeated. The crowd went silent, then erupted into shocked murmurs. The Baron's eyes widened, realizing that the human and the girl had done impossible. The girl, once mocked and broken, stood tall, her chest rising with pride. The human's quiet smile showed how much he believed in her. For the first time, she felt like she could do anything. The Baron could only watch, speechless, as whispers of admiration began to spread through the arena. Even aliens who had mocked her before began to whisper, "She is different. She is remarkable." As they left the arena, the human and the girl walked side by side. They were not just stronger, they were unstoppable. The girl's confidence had grown, and the human's quiet leadership had shown the galaxy what humans could achieve, but they knew this was only the beginning. The Baron would not give up easily, and greater challenges awaited. Yet the first spark of glory had been lit. From ridicule to rising power, the story of the human and the girl was becoming something no alien could ignore. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, eyes were watching them, waiting to see if they could truly change the course of history. The galaxy had started to whisper the story of the human and the Baron's daughter. Aliens who once laughed were now watching closely, curiosity replacing mockery. The girl had grown stronger, braver, and cleverer than anyone expected, and the human's calm guidance had turned what once seemed impossible into small victories. One morning, the Baron called them to a grand hall, filled with leaders from distant worlds. "This is your next challenge," he said, voice sharper than before. "Impress us all, or face disgrace." The girl's heart pounded, but the human squeezed her hand gently. "You are ready," he said. "Trust what you have learned." The challenge was simple in words, but deadly in reality. They had to solve a series of tests combining strength, intelligence, and courage. Aliens who had failed countless times before were present. Watching closely, the girl stepped forward, hesitation in her eyes, but determination in her heart. The first test was a puzzle of shifting platforms over a pit of energy fire. The girl's small frame wobbled, but she remembered the human's lessons. She measured the distance, focused, and leaped with precision, landing safely. The crowd murmured in surprise, and some even gasped. The Baron's frown deepened, but the human's calm smile encouraged her to continue. Next came the test of strategy, guiding a fragile energy crystal through a maze filled with traps. The girl hesitated at first, unsure which path to take. The human whispered advice, but she soon realized she could make decisions on her own. With careful planning and courage, she moved the crystal through the maze without damage. The alien leaders watched silently, shock and admiration mixing in their expressions. The final trial awaited in the arena outside, a test of courage against a massive mechanical guardian. It was bigger and faster than anything the girl had faced, but she remembered the human's lessons, how to stay calm, observe weaknesses, and act with purpose. Together, they faced the guardian, dodging attacks and using clever tricks to slow it down. The girl's moves became confident and precise, the human guiding without fear, and then, with a clever plan, they managed to disable the guardian completely. The alien crowd erupted in stunned applause, unable to deny what they had seen. For the first time, the girl felt true pride in herself. She stood taller, chest lifted, eyes shining. The human's quiet smile told her she had done more than succeed. She had earned respect. Even the Baron could not hide his shock, realizing that his daughter, once a joke, had become something extraordinary. The bond between the human and the girl deepened during this journey. They had faced fear, danger, and ridicule together. The human had shown patience, courage, and strategy. The girl had discovered strength, cleverness, and confidence within herself. Together, they had turned ridicule into respect, failure into triumph, and fear into courage. Yet even as the applause echoed through the alien halls, a shadow lingered. The Baron was still watching, waiting for the next chance to challenge them. The galaxy had begun to notice humanity's power, and not everyone would welcome it. But for now, the human and the girl had proven something important. Even the smallest, weakest, almost broken could rise above. Even laughter could be turned into glory, and together they were ready for the challenges that lay ahead. Little did anyone know, their true test, the one that would define their place in the stars, was yet to come. The arena was silent. Across the galaxy, eyes watched the human and the Baron's daughter, waiting to see if they would succeed in the ultimate test. The Baron's expression was unreadable, though a spark of worry flickered in his eyes. This was the challenge no one had ever survived, a trial designed to crush hope and reveal weakness. The human stood beside the girl, calm and steady as ever. He looked at her and said softly, "We've come too far to fear now. Trust yourself. Trust us." The girl took a deep breath, feeling courage he had never known. She had trained, struggled, and grown under the human's guidance, and now the galaxy would see the strength of humanity. The trial began. The arena shifted into a chaotic battlefield. Mechanical monsters, energy storms, and impossible puzzles appeared. The other aliens gasped, some whispering that they would surely fail, but the human did not hesitate. He moved quickly, guiding the girl, using strategy and clever thinking. Every obstacle was met with calm determination. Every challenge turned into an opportunity. The girl acted with precision and courage, remembering everything the human had taught her. She leapt across unstable platforms, dodged energy blasts, and solved puzzles no alien could imagine. Her movements became graceful, powerful, and confident. The crowd could not look away. Even those who had mocked her before were silent with awe. Then came the final Gargio, massive alien creature. Larger than any city building, it roared, shaking the arena with fearsome power. The Baron's voice echoed, "Fail, and you will disgrace your species forever." But the human and the girl stood together, unwavering. He whispered a plan, and she nodded, her eyes shining with trust and determination, with clever tactics, courage, and teamwork. They faced the Guardian. The girl dodged its attacks, guided by the human's calm instructions. Together, they found the creature's weak point and disabled it without harm. The arena fell silent for a moment, then erupted in stunned applause. The impossible had been done. The human and the girl had triumphed where no one else could. The Baron finally spoke, his voice low and quiet. "You have done the impossible." He looked at his daughter, pride and disbelief mixing in his gaze. The girl smiled, realizing she had become more than the Baron's broken daughter. She had become a symbol, a galactic icon, a proof of what courage and human ingenuity could achieve. Word of their victory spread across the galaxy. The human ambassador from Earth was no longer laughed at, he was respected. The girl's story inspired aliens from every world, showing that even the weak, the mocked, or the overlooked could rise to greatness, and together they had proved that humanity was more than strength. It was creativity, courage, and heart. The human and the girl stood side by side, looking out at the stars. They knew more challenges awaited, but now they were ready. What had started as ridicule had become glory. What had started as weakness had become strength, and together they left a legacy that would be remembered across the galaxy for generations to come. The galaxy had witnessed the rise of heroes, and humanity's story had only just begun. From laughter and mockery to triumph and respect, they had shown the universe what humans could achieve. And somewhere, deep in the stars, new eyes watched, curious, waiting for the next human to rise.